In this video, I'll discuss the phases of walking and give you some examples. And it's in my book, Ellen's Guide to Rhythm and Motion on Amazon. In this diagram of the phases of walking, I included a line of gravity from the pelvic center of gravity down to the ground. And to make a figure feel weighty, you have to pay attention to where this line hits the ground. I also included the red marks indicating contact with the ground. So in the heel strike or contact phase, the line of gravity from the pelvic center of gravity hits the ground between the 2 feet. So this is the most stable and grounded moment where the figure is balanced on his back toe and his front heel. The double support doesn't occur with running. The upside down V is the angle between the legs and tells the viewer how much ground is being covered. A wider V implies a more forceful and heavy stride. As the body moves to the foot down phase, the weight moves entirely onto the forward leg. Emphasize the flattening of the foot to make the character feel heavy. And this marks the beginning of the swing phase, where the back toe pushes off against the ground, helping the forward momentum, so the foot accelerates. The standing leg doesn't totally support the body until the passing or mid-swing phase, as the other leg swings in front. In this position, the figure is its most upright and balanced over a single point of contact. This is the moment of maximal vertical pressure on this standing leg. So let's talk about the late swing phase. We had the mid-swing where this leg was swinging in front, and this is the fastest movement. So the edges of this back foot would be blurred. And then we get into the late swing where this foot decelerates. It goes slower, and so its edges would be a little sharper. And before it hits the ground, the heel always hits the ground before the toe, and then you have a flat foot. Now, the other thing is that during this phase, you're angled like this, and if the person were to try to hold this position, he would fall forward. And that's called a controlled fall, and it gives us energy to walk. We almost fall, and then this foot is planted down to catch the fall. We always use contrapposto when we walk or run. In other words, the arms and legs move in opposite directions so the body is balanced. In this first image, the back left arm goes forward, so the back left leg goes backward. The right leg goes forward, so this right arm should be back more. The arms are generally relaxed when walking, as I show you here, but in a power walk, the arms are bent at the elbow. This sketch by Watteau breaks some of the rules that we've just been talking about. First of all, you can't walk with both feet flat on the ground unless you shuffle. And that keeps him grounded, but the shadow in the back here is confusing because you can't just be on your back heel. This back foot is angled outward and this one is straight ahead, and the feet should either both be outward or both pointing forward. Now, it's also impossible to walk with a backward angle like this, and that looks like it pins him to the ground. In addition, his head and gaze are angled downward, making him look subservient and heavy. This picture by Sargent is huge. It's 7.6 by 11.4 feet. So this figure is life-sized. And the flamenco dancer must be moving backward because she's leaning that way. So the artist left room in the back for her to move. And that's opposite to what we usually see, which is room in front for a forward-moving figure. Now, the footlights cause rhythmic, murky shadows on the wall, and we can even make out a shadow of her outstretched arm. Unlike shadows that usually ground the figure, these shadows on the wall add rhythm and motion. On her left side are the black and white musicians and their shadows on the wall, so they form a pattern, ending with the one that appears to be asleep. The musicians merge with the dark shirt of the dancer, bringing them together. On the right is a crowd of raucous people in a small space, and the dancer is pointing to and recognizing that audience, particularly the woman in the red dress. The other red item is the apple on the empty chair, and these red spots stand out because the picture is mainly black and white. Now let's look at this last set of drawings. In the first one, the left foot is stationary, so it supports the body. It has sharp edges and casts a shadow. Her head is over that standing foot, indicating that she's balanced. And although we can't see it, there should be a slight bend in the knee of the standing foot, since it acts as a shock absorber. Now the right leg is off the ground, so its edges are soft, especially the bottom of the foot that's nearly perpendicular to the movement. This second position is where the motion is most evident. When the right foot passes in front of the left one, it's traveling nearly horizontally, and the back lower leg has the softest edges since it's perpendicular to the movement. And it's also just after the mid-swing, which is the fastest part. Now the figure is leaning into her movement, so she's unbalanced, as she should be, and she's using her own weight to move herself along. If you drew the figure perfectly upright, she would look like she was marching in place rather than walking. In this last situation, the figure is supported by both feet, so the edges are relatively sharp, and this back toe pushes the figure forward. It should actually be higher on the page because it's further away than this right foot. And the wide angle between her legs suggests a confident, large stride. Now, as for contrapposto, her right arm should be further back so it balances this leg in front. And similarly, the left arm should be forward more. Please remember to subscribe and check out my book on Amazon.